Do you have a plan when you teach? Do you have a process? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you have a little bit different process, but hopefully you have that. Basic structure of a lesson. We're going to start off with preparation. And then we'll go through the rest of it as we go along. Preparation, introduction. Introduction, we'll talk about the interview, the assessment, how to engage your student, giving them what they want. You know, we'll definitely talk about that as well. Retention, and then the closing, obviously. Preparation, what do you need? Give me some ideas of things you need for a lesson. Let's get active here. What would you need for a golf lesson?
A student.
Hey, a student, absolutely. You can teach like good teachers something. Golf teams, what else? Keep going. Energy. Anybody else?
Eat golf balls.
Eat golf balls, thank you. We're getting closer. Anybody else? Teaching aids. Great time to choose my favorite teaching aid. My favorite teaching aid. I thought about writing my name on it. I think you can get these from Home Depot. I stole this from our maintenance guy. I don't really think he knows. But you can see how beat up it is. I use it all the time. What else? Teaching aids. Anything else?
Usually need to know what time your lesson is.
It's work. You need to know what time your lesson is. Thanks.
Watch.
Yeah, I need to watch. Like I said, before we get to lunch today. Anything else? You're on the team for 8 hours a day, food and water. Unless you make sure to schedule a break for yourself, which you get to do that as well. Anything else you can think of you might need for a lesson? Video equipment. If you have it, if you want to use it. TrackMan, if you have the ability to use that. So, and then cleanliness. You know, I want my student to walk into the learning center or the range and tees are in one spot, balls are stacked nicely, balls are clean. That's a big factor we don't see enough of, especially when you're using TrackMan. Make sure the ball's clean. How you dress, how do you carry yourself? You walk in, you're unshaven, shirt's hanging out, look professional. It instills trust in your student. You get professionalism, your personality. I think that's a huge one. We'll talk about why people take a lesson. I think having a personality or developing a relationship is huge for your student. They want to feel comfortable. And then most importantly, your attitude. Wake up in the morning with your smile on your face. If you have a bad day, they don't need to know. So make sure you're showing up to work and you're walking up to these guys. I don't care how bad your day was, you better shake their hand with a smile on your face. Because they probably won't come back. And if they do come back, they probably told somebody else about what happened or how you're boring, which hopefully I'm not boring, but keep that in mind. Attitude is one of my biggest things. No matter how bad a day you've had, try your very hardest to go in there with a smile on your face. Let's talk about the introduction. Things to ask. I know a lot of you guys here probably heard this, but again, we're here to share information. If you guys have ideas, don't hesitate to raise your hand, shout it out, whatever you want to do. First off, why did your student come to you? I want to get better, I hope. Whether it's short game, long game, they're just terrible, they just want to get better. Again, physical limitations is a pretty generic question to ask. Obviously, you need to ask that question. That way, if you're working on something you're not doing, something that they can't do, or it's going to or hurt them. What are their goals? Heck, they may not even know. Help them come up with goals. I think that's super important as you go along with the lesson. And then one of my biggest ones, and I've actually learned a lot about this year. It's what does your student want to see? It's not about what you want. I think students come to lessons and they have their own goals and they say, okay, well, heck, I just want to get the ball in the air, and you're trying to get them to hit a draw. Well, good luck. They start hitting it bad, they're done. They just want to see the ball go in the air. They want to hit the ball in the center of the face, watch it fly, and I see too much of, man, we gotta get you to the draw, we gotta get you to the fade, or whatever it may be. So keep in mind what they want. If they want to hit a draw, great, teach them how to hit a draw. But it's not about you, it's about your student. Have they taken lessons before? That's a huge question to ask. And if it's with somebody else, ask them who it is and what they work on. Heck, they may not even know. That way you have an idea of what direction they're going, what they're thinking about. I'm talking about coaching the mind here. And that'll give you a little bit of a guide as to what they're already doing. You may not even have to see them swing before you have an idea of what their swing looks like. Look at their clubs. You can see some wear on the grip. It tells you how they hold the club. Look at the club face. Where's the ball hitting on the club face? There's so many different things to look at in the introduction. The best one that I like is when they come in and they're hitting off the mat. We have mats that are closely shaven and then some with some longer grass. It's always funny when they go hit off the longer grass. You know they're super, super shallow people. They won't see the ball setting up on the grass, and then the steep people always hit off the lower cut. So that's a great little thing. You already know right off the bat. One of the things you've got to do with them, whether it's they're steep or shallow, you've got to make a change in regard to that. What is their profession? It's always one, you know what, I haven't asked enough this year. What do you do? Whether they're working in finance, maybe they like numbers. They love numbers, they're going to love TrackMan. Then you'll have people that have jobs where there's no numerical data to interpret at all, and they may not even want to see TrackMan. You use TrackMan for yourself and then present it to them. We'll talk about teaching and speaking on second grade level or third grade level, however you want to put it.
Also, what sports they play.
Absolutely, what sports they play. Good call right there. So that's that. Great question, or great point. What sports have they played? Absolutely. Baseball is a great sport. You know, you hear people come in all the time, and I think there's so many misconceptions in the golf swing, whether it's keeping your head down or swinging in a barrel or whatever these people have heard their entire lives and continue to hear as you walk down the range. But what sports have they played? Baseball is a great sport to play. Tennis, basketball. There's almost endless amount of sports you can relate golf to, so you know how to relate them. So great question to ask there. Now here's what you get from the introduction. You find out what they want to see. Like I said, do they want to just get the ball in the air? If they do, that's great. Just get the ball in the air and they're happy and send them on the way. Figure out how they think. What are they thinking about already? They may have, man, I always ask that question. They give you 15 things. It's going way downhill really quickly. The information from the clubs, again, the grip, where's the ball hitting on the face? You can get a good idea of what their path is sometimes, looking at where the ball's hitting on the face. How they learn. This is a big one. Figuring out how somebody learns. You know, there's information out there that I'm still gathering as to how people learn. I think Jason pointed out, made a good point the other day. We were working on my swing, and I kept looking in the mirror, and I was like, man, you know, I really don't even know how I learn. He goes, you're a visual learner. I didn't know that, because you keep looking in the mirror. Well, dumb. So keep in mind to look at their traits. What are they doing? Are they looking in the mirror? Do they want to see video? Are they making changes faster with you moving around? Do they make changes faster with drills? I mean, there's so many different things that you can pick up on to figure out what's going through their brain. What else? Any other ideas in regards to what you guys get from the introduction to sports? That was a good one. You can figure out where their strong points are.
You got to establish a line of communication.
Establish a line of communication. Fantastic. Yep. Anybody else?
One thing to learn is like when you beat them from their handshake.
Absolutely.
Squeezing your hand way too tight, I guarantee you squeezing that club too.
Absolutely. Grip pressure is huge. Not only how you hold the club, but how tightly you hold the club. That's another thing I see quite often is people, man, they're ready. Is that Jason Torque right there?
How often do they play? How often do they practice?
How often do they play? How often do they practice? Gives you a good idea. Do you need to figure out a practice schedule for them? Maybe they don't have time to practice. And that's another thing that I picked up on this year. Nobody practices as much as you'd like them to. So what can you do to get them better? There are things out there that you can do.
I've noticed that sometimes when students, you ask them open-ended questions, and they use words that will trigger you and tell you how they learn.
Absolutely.
They'll use, I saw this, I see this, I saw
Yeah.
this, or I felt this, or I felt that, or, and it gives you gives you some triggers to tell you if they're Physical.
In fact, they might even say, I'm a visual learner. There you go, that eliminates all that, I don't need to look anymore. But that's a great point, absolutely. Listen, and we don't do that enough either, I need to listen more as well. But keep that in mind, you're trying to listen to what they have to say so that you can approach this lesson much more efficiently. The assessment, deciding which direction you want to go. I know Jason spoke about phase and path and which one to work on depending on what your student's doing. Understanding you'll make mistakes. Confidence. Again, having confidence in what you teach. I think that, if you're going to teach them to stand on their head and you think that's the best way to get them better, then, man, you can teach them how to stand on their head. They better do it daggone good. Knowledge. That's, again, you guys study, read, watch videos, take lessons, watch people teach. There's so many different things to gain knowledge to help you understand which direction you're going to go in the lesson. Making the decision. So we'll talk about your toolbox. Everybody's toolbox is different. Everybody's information has come from different sources. There is no one correct way to teach. Engaging your student. Your time to shine. They want to get better, you're going to get them better.